What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. Okay, I was looking through some of the card printing and distribution data here, so shout out to Splinter Cards. There's a lot of talk about land right now, and land being this huge sink for cards, especially older cards. And I kind of wanted to see just the scale of it. We'll put it that way. Now, I'm not going to try to draw any conclusions here. I want to just present you with some of the numbers. And again, this is all super high level, and I've done a lot of the calculations already, but somebody feel free to double check me. We can go through it in the video, but what I mainly wanted to see was the set of cards that was the most printed ever, right? Are the Chaos Legion reward cards. There were just so many of them compared to Chaos Legion even, right? And so I was just checking to see what the, what the total print rate were, and if you were to max out all those cards, but essentially just combine them all, where would we be from a total card standpoint? But before we even do that, I'm going to bring out the calculator, and of course there's 150,000 land plots, right? So let's say they all get in use or are used, multiply that by 5 monsters, and we're looking at about 750,000 cards, right? That will hopefully be maxed out. But 750,000 cards that will be wiped off the face of the game. So before we even do that, I just want to take a quick look here. We're going to go edition by edition. You can see Alpha. Alpha alone has 246,000 regular foils and 12,000 gold foils. So Alpha probably would be the smallest. You have Beta, which has 625,000 cards and 38,000 gold foils, right? So regular and gold foil. What just happened? That was weird. So we're already well above the 750,000, right? Now, again, would people want to try to max out with their cards here if they can? When it comes to the alpha and beta cards, yeah, maybe, right? I don't have any of them, right? So I'm not going to be focused on doing it. But it's either going to be maybe an underpowered alpha or beta, or maybe even untamed, if people deem those not really necessary anymore. But ultimately, what I'm trying to show you is the scale of how many cards are actually in the system. Now we go to the promo cards, and this is gonna get a little well, not insane, but you can see here Archimus the Bear is like 356,000 of this 561. So Archimus the Bear will probably become a little bit more scarce over time, and then 20,000 regular or gold foils. But when we get to the reward cards, we go down to the bottom, and all of a sudden you see 27 million cards, right? So some of these are combined, some of them are not, but 27 million cards. Now, what I wanted to do, again, for the purposes of this video, and I'm not going to go into the Untamed and Chaos Legion because I wanted to stop at the reward cards because this was just such an absurd number to me. I'm only focused on the Chaos Legion reward cards. And so what I did was rough math here, and maybe I'll be able to actually share the calculator and show my work there. Excuse me. But what I was doing is taking all of the Chaos Legion reward cards and essentially showing how many maxed copies there could be in total, right? So we look at something like the Pelacors or the common cards here. So this is, and we'll go Venari Heatsmith all the way down to Pelacor Mercenary. These all hit their full print limit of 8 million. And what you're going to see here, I'll just redo it for you guys. So 8 million divided by 400, right? Because that's the total amount of BCX needed in order to max a card, means that there's going to be 20,000 of each of these cards. Now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 common cards that hit their full print limit. But then you also have Vampire Bat, Bloodmaker, Murdampier, and Everhungry Skull that actually hit more than half of what that was. So another 4 million. So if we just say, we'll just multiply this by 8 to be, again, I'm actually rounding down in this case. It should be a little bit higher. But, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you have 4 half, for half print, essentially. So we'll just call that 8, right? So you multiply this by 8, and now all of a sudden that's 160,000 cards. It's essentially more than 1/5 of the amount of cards that will be needed on land. Now, shall I keep going? Actually, let's see if I can share something here with you. If you look at my past calculations, this is me playing around. You can see that here is the 160,000 for common cards. This 152,000 is for rare cards. Then you jump up to it's actually here the 76,000. That is for epic cards. And again, this includes both the old Chaos Legion and then the newer ones that were put out in like May of last year that came out with the ranked rewards. So that's 76,000. And then we get to 50,000 for the legendary. So when I added all of these up, right here, where was it? Boom, right there. 438,181. So you divide that by 750,000, and we're looking at just the Chaos Legion reward cards being able to fill almost 60% of all land. I don't know, that again, draw your own conclusions. That to me was very surprising because we haven't even talked about Chaos Legion. We haven't talked about Rift Watchers. We haven't talked about Untamed. Obviously the thing is, some people are going to try and play. There's a gamification element to this, right? So depending on what cards you have that maybe you don't use, especially if they're older cards like the alphas or the betas, or gold foil alphas and betas, or maybe some promo cards, it might make more sense for you to use those if you get better production from your land. So people may not be rushing to these cards. But what it did signal to me was that, well, just the reward cards alone is enough to do more than half of land if we wanted to, right? And sure, do people want to play with the reward cards? Absolutely. And I think that's going to be an important thing because it's going to be the cards that people don't necessarily want to play with or have no use for anymore that will be going to land. And it's not like a one-time thing or a one-way trip where, you like burn the cards, they stay there forever. Like, it may start out that we do like a lot of these reward cards, but then we pull them out if like the demand for them becomes really high, right? Let's say I start staking 5 maxed out Pelacor Bandits on my land, but new players enter the game and those things start renting like crazy. Well, I'm going to take the Pelacor Bandits, put them out on the market and swap them out for Venari Heatsmiths or something, whatever the case is. But either way, I just wanted to share that number with you because it was surprisingly high in my opinion. Now, again, I haven't done this calculation ahead of time, but I am curious to see where Chaos Legion is right now. And you can see here that with Chaos Legion, I mean, we already have another 10 million cards here just with Chaos Legion. And I don't know what, the full maxed amount is going to be once we get everything kind of maxed out, if we ever get to everything maxed out. But when it comes to Chaos Legion, I say that there's not enough for all the players to be playing at the higher levels. But when it comes to land, now I'm wondering, it may not be the biggest card, as big of a card sink as what I'm saying. And I know I'm sorry because I didn't want to lead you guys in any direction. I wanted to know what you felt, but clearly if you couldn't pick it up from my tone, I'm struggling to see. It's not that I'm struggling to see what's happening or what will happen in the future. It's just that number was just so large. Just the reward cards was 60%. And so I'm not worried about card sinks. I'm not worried about there being, not enough cards for land. I actually think there's more than enough, right? And land is going to be its own separate thing. And hopefully the game is going to grow and evolve separately from that, where people will want their cards, right? People want the cards to play with, because at the end of the day, that'll be one of the, primary ways to earn within the game. So, however you want to take this data, I just want to present it. And I want to be very clear because I know I kind of lean that way, but I'm not saying that land isn't going to be a huge card sink. It absolutely will be. What I think this shows is that the Chaos Legion reward cards were that print rate was outrageous. And so you can see just how many cards were printed within that maybe 18-month period, from like maybe September or so of 2021 when they first came out to when they got cut off just a month ago. Again, it's going to take up almost, almost 60% of land at this point. Or it could, sorry, it has a potential to take up almost 60% of land. Now, a lot of those cards are very meta. They're going to be in Modern for a while. So I don't think that we're actually going to use those and put those into land. I'm sure it will be a lot of the alphas and betas and maybe even some of the Untamed cards that don't get love. Maybe even some of the Chaos Legion cards that, you don't really use. So again, I don't know how that will play out. Will they be probably the most cost-effective way to get monsters maxed out for your land? Probably. And Matt and Aggie have been very clear on the town hall that this is what they're planning to do. Right? You have the opportunity to go and front run them, so feel free to partake in that. But again, it's just the number was just shockingly high to me, and I wanted to share it with you and get your thoughts. So let me know what you're thinking, what your reaction is, what your perspective is on that in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.